Hi there. Hi, Steve. How are you? Hi, Nicola. Hope you're doing well. Chaminda and Richard.
Hey.
You all okay?
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Chaminda. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Excellent. And Nicola, haven't seen you since well, probably the beginning of 2020. Yeah, we're into 2019.
Right.
Have you seen anybody though? Who's seen anybody? Yeah,
Exactly.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
crazy. So right, well, thanks for joining. We are a small but perfectly formed little group, though we're going to be discussing the launch of the GSA Partner Platform. So absolutely delighted to be presenting it alongside Eleonora Israeli. Eleonora is the Head of Growth Operations for our partner Clutch. And Eleonora, where in the world are you?
We are based in Washington, D.C., so still in the D.C. area, just as probably most of you, working from home.
Yeah, we are, and it's getting tighter and tighter all the time. Great. Right, we're going to kick off straight away, and let me just quickly share screen. So I don't actually really need to do any introduction to myself because I know all of you well, and I've briefly introduced Eleonora, so that is great. Let's see when I've got this up and running properly. I'll have to put my glasses on. I can't do anything without my specs on, which is tragic these days. Okay, is that up and in full screen mode?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Right. Because we are a small group, I do suggest that we come off mute and ask any questions at any point on the way through rather than wait until the end. I think it'll make it much more interactive and enjoyable for everybody on the call. And I think we probably only need to take just over 30 minutes of your time, depending on how much questions there are. So the agenda. So before I run through what I believe is absolutely our revolutionary approach and the GSA Partner Platform, I think I want to give you a little bit of a backdrop and give you an overview to the industry response to COVID, because I think that actually gives a bit of context to why this is still so important. And then move on a little bit to what the opportunity is before I hand over to Eleonora, who will take you through the solution. We've got some pre-written FAQs, which are the ones that we've collated from everybody we've spoken to on the way through, but you'll probably have asked us all of those on the way through already. So first of all, I wanted to sort of like put this into context. I do love this slide. I'll let you read it. So this is the opening slide to the GSA manifesto, and this is the manifesto that we developed in response to COVID. And if you look at it, you know, how much has the world changed, this Zooming becoming a way of life. And yes, our government carries on shaking money trees. I don't know how on earth we're going to afford everything that's been granted and promised. But yeah, I just wanted to share that slide as the opening of the GSA manifesto. And actually we did the beta launch of the GSA partner platform before any of this happened. I think it was back in February 2020. Is that right, Eleonora?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
okay. So I'll give you an overview of what's changed since then as well. So basically, what we've done at the GSA is we were incredibly proud of how well our industry, the industry of technology and business services, responded to COVID-19. So we ran a trust survey, and we saw throughout, you know, the entire sort of like first phase lockdown that trust between partners and service providers was on the increase and continued to increase, just as they realised that their service providers were willing to be flexible, willing to collaborate, and were really in it to ensure that their businesses didn't just keep the lights on, but also keep the wheels turning. So the industry responded phenomenally, and I do believe that we were and will continue to be of absolute paramount importance to helping UK PLC and global businesses with their restart strategies. So that's just a little bit of context as to how important I think the technology and business services industry is moving forward. So our manifesto we have called Rethinking Sourcing and Restarting UK. So that's helping UK businesses, you know, get back on their feet through a different approach and a new approach to strategic sourcing. So we've taken the opportunity to applaud the industry. We've published an industry response both for the UK but also globally as to how well the industry responded all around the world to the challenges of COVID-19. We took it one stage further and have actually developed a global council, which is called the Global Technology and Business Services Council, and that is actually comprised of 12 of the major industry associations around the world. And here we're talking about representation from ALICE in Latin America, NASCOM in India, BPESA in South Africa, IAOP in the United States, and also Astra in Russia, and of course Chaminda, you are on board, and Chaminda leads SLASCOM, so that's for the Association for Sri Lanka. So, and there are others as well. So we've come together to applaud the industry, but also to find a vision for the industry and how we believe the industry is going to develop and evolve moving forward. So I can leave you to read that, but I think the key message within this is that we need to collaborate and showcase the brilliance of the sourcing industry ever more moving forward. And I think that is one of the things that Partner Platform is going to enable us to do. So showcasing the brilliance of the players in this industry. So our manifesto is published on the front page of our website. I would encourage you all to have a look at it and read it through. It is actually a very interesting read, and not too hefty, but full of sort of our vision of what's changing in the industry, and what we need to do to continue to drive more change and respond to the challenges we have ahead. So what we've been doing is we've made all of our world-class standards, specifically the Global Strategic Sourcing Standard, freely available to everybody around the world at this time. So everybody has got access to the best practice they need to help them with their restart strategies. Through the Global Technology and Business Services Council, we are championing a vision for the industry. We've got a very clear vision statement on that website about the future of the industry, and how it's going to change and how it's going to be vital to business success moving forward. A lot of that is obviously focusing on the talent in the industry, and looking at the importance of access to this global talent pool in all sorts of different forms moving forward. We're seeing a massive shift away from the traditional outsource models to very much the open talent or talent as a service forum, where people can work for any organisation anywhere in the world. So we are going to be continuing to champion that, but also champion the skills of the smaller organisations as well as the big service providers. We aim to continue to improve the industry's positive reputation and continue to promote ethical and socially responsible sourcing and partnering. So those points highlighted in grey are ones that I think are really relevant to and reinforce what we're doing through the GSA Partner Platform. So we are changing the way that the industry promotes itself. We're getting rid of all the stale, old published directories that are pretty static and don't move forward, with a dynamic platform. So really moving this partner selection into a digital environment and into the ways of working of the 2020s. We believe the partner platform is absolutely essential in proving and promoting the positivity, the work of this industry, and actually improving the industry's positive reputation overall. So it does give us the opportunity to showcase those companies that are performing well, but also the opportunity to highlight organisations that might not be performing the way that they should be performing and that have been causing disrepute to the industry in the past. And of course, it is a really, really fair platform, because the platform is focused on taking the reviews and feedback of service providers, partners and customers, and making that freely available to the rest of the community. So it's no longer a case of having to list in directories, pay for pages in directories, be part of any analysts' quadrants or circles or triangles or whatever they might be. It is a case of actually we're putting the voice back into the hands of the community. So I want you to think of checkertrade.com, but for the service provider community. So yes, that enables me to actually then go in and start telling you a little bit about the GSA Partner Platform. So the aims of the partner platform, I think I've just given you a little bit of it, to give our members the confidence that they are partnering with quality providers, to provide the broader sourcing ecosystem with a platform to promote their brands and their capabilities. So it's a broader, more blended ecosystem, I think, can actually deliver dividends to the community. It's to present an open, as I said, unbiased and sponsored view of the performance of service providers, software developers, and this is where the change has happened to moving it from beta into the full launch. It was originally for small service providers and for software development houses. Today it is open to all size of service providers. So we have been onboarding some of our really significant 100,000 plus employee service providers and getting their profiles into the partner platform, but are also opening it up to the consultancies and advisors as well for the first time. So that's a rather exciting change. And you know, I hate to say it, I have mentioned it, there are some organisations that have brought the industry into disrepute. So for me, as being an evangelist for the positive reputation of this industry, I think it is a great platform to help eradicate those players that don't really deliver as well as they should do and do cause issues for the rest of the industry. So as I said, I think this is absolutely a world first. I mean, obviously, our partner Clutch has been doing this for a while, but it's through partnering with the GSA that we've moved this into the service provider community. So I think it's fair to say, that Eleonora will correct me or tell me differently in a minute, it is the first open platform that publishes and ranks the performance of our service provider community. Obviously, it will enable, and we will be doing a whole host of promotion to get this in front of our buyers, our enterprise clients, and to get them to, one, review their own performance of their service providers, but two, to use it as a platform to find trusted new organisations that they can partner with. And equally, it's going to be a great platform for service providers and advisors to find and create the long list and the short lists of organisations they themselves wish to partner with. So it's an excellent and free, completely free of charge platform to promote your own profile, and it's down to you to be really responsible for keeping your profile up to date and how you want to position yourself, although the Clutch team do review everything to ensure that anything that goes up there is correct and bona fide information, whether it's from you or whether it's actually from your reviewing customers. So yes, that's a brief introduction of what the platform is all about. Eleonora will go in a lot more detail. And really the process is incredibly simple. So you can either upload the profile directly yourself, or you can work with the Clutch team to upload your profile. And then it's a case of championing and canvassing and requesting your customers to review you and publish their thoughts as much as you possibly can. So the more reviews you get, the higher you actually rank within the GSA partner platform. So it is like checkertrade.com, it is like booking.com for the hotel industry, where your customers will give you a rating, and you get a rating, I believe it's 1 to 5, isn't it, Eleonora? Yep, you come up with an overall rating. Correct. 1 to 5, and they can feed all their comments in as to how well you know, how well you've worked with them, and on what different attributes they're rating you, and all of that sort of stuff. So exactly as you'd expect in the way that, you know, you've done community-based reviews for the consumer space yourselves. So, and what's really exciting about this is, yes, they can publish their reviews, yes, this converts into rankings, but even more than that, it dynamically updates leaderboards. So you can go on in and look for any type of service provider, and a leaderboard of the best performers in that particular niche will come on up and make it easy for you to view who's leading the space. Now we've beated this with a number of our members, and there's some members that have got fabulous ratings and rankings. So Steve, you know, the future processing chaps,
Yes,
they
yeah.
were due to come and speak about their experience. I think they've got 17 5-star reviews of the work that they've been doing, and I say unfortunately because that's absolutely the wrong word to use. Wonderfully, the chap who was due to do the presentation is at home on paternity leave, so just had a baby less than a week ago. If not, he would have.
Is that Michal?
Michael, yes.
So I need to drop him a note. I knew his partner was expecting. I didn't know the exact date. So
Yeah, no, I think it was
update.
a C-section on Thursday or Friday. So
Oh, wow.
so yes, went home on Sunday. So okay, personal update for you. But yes, so unfortunately he couldn't actually join us on this webinar, understandably. But there are a number of GSA members that would be more than happy to talk you through the process, their involvement, their ability to put their profile up, and the benefits that they've actually been getting by being visible on this really dynamic partner platform. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to you, Eleonora, and then I'll come back and fill in any gaps we might have created. So before I hand over to Eleonora, though, I mean, Eleonora, please grab the screen. Is there any questions? Is anything confused any of you so far?
No, I guess the only question I had, Kerry, was you sort of mentioned you're going to kind of promote this in terms of into buy-side organisations. Is there a kind of plan of action for that in terms of how this is going to be combed out? I guess beyond necessarily just the GSA membership.
Yeah, so what we're doing is I've got somebody that's full-time dedicated to onboarding the service providers. We need more service providers on before we make a big push to the buy-side community.
Yeah,
So
sure.
we have highlighted 350 service providers that we've highlighted to actively and quickly get on board. And I think if we get 50% of that on board over the course of the next 6 weeks, that's when we'll be going out and doing exactly this sort of webinar, but to the enterprise buyers, so that they know what's here, what's available, and can start getting on board with it. And then we'll be moving the individual that is full-time on the service providers to being focused on both the service providers and the buyers to ensure that everyone's aware of the partner platform, push a massive social media campaign out, but also give all of our members packs so they can actually do a lot of the promotional work for us, really. So it's kind of sharing the workload, but making it very much as it's intended to be a community-driven initiative. As a community hub, it's for the industry. It just happens to be supported and pushed by the GSA. But I think this is a really it's a no-brainer for service providers to get on board. We just need to make sure that they know it's there, and then it becomes a no-brainer for the buyers to actually be using it. But Eleanor is going to go through some of that information because she's got some backdrop, as you can see here, on the B2B buying process. So that might explain a bit more, Steve, and if not, we'll come back to that one in a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, Carrie, thank you so much for the introduction and sending it over. Hopefully you all can see my screen with the B2B buying process. And yeah, really excited to be talking to you about our collaboration with GSA and why we believe it's so important and so crucial to continuing to grow and expand and support the sourcing industry. So as Carrie mentioned, Clutch at its core is a ratings and reviews website. We focus on highlighting the best service providers and advisors out there, helping to facilitate them get new clients and really be able to kind of build up their ecosystem. But something else that we do is actually run original data reports and create kind of original data surveys on the state of the industry and the B2B buying process. And earlier this year, we ran a new survey that surveyed 451 US employees that were involved in their company's decision to buy either a business-to-business service or a piece of software over the last 12 months. And we found some really incredible data around what people look for when looking to hire another service provider or an advisor. And what we've noticed is that particularly in terms of researching who they would like to partner with, the research process is actually the part of the process that takes them the most time, more so than going through the actual sales conversations and getting down to final steps. So most buyers are actually about halfway through the buying process by the time they actually reach out to the potential service providers or advisors that they're looking to hire. And something that we've noticed is that, as a number of stakeholders that are impacted within an organization by that purchase increase, the energy around the initial stages and purchase really go up because they want to make sure that they get all the information that they need in order to make this right decision. And something else that came out of this information is that, as arrangements are more significant and they take longer, that process will take longer to hire someone. But we've seen a bit of a trend towards more kind of micro project, more specific projects, as the fewer stakeholders there are involved, the easier it is to go through those smaller projects and make those purchases faster as the scope of work and the team is smaller. But one of the really incredible pieces of data that we found is that 94% of all businesses have used online reviews to make a B2B purchasing decision. So that means that most people at some point throughout the research process to actually finalizing that contract, they're looking for online reviews to really verify and learn more about the service providers that they are evaluating and hoping to partner with. And at the end of the day, it really does make sense, right? Business-to-business purchases are usually pretty large expenses, and decision makers want to make sure that they're getting all the information that they need to not only be able to know who they should be partnering with and who the best decision is for them, but also to be able to justify to their coworkers, their stakeholders, that yes, this really is the right person to go with, or the right organization to go with. And online reviews really do give you that social proof around hiring a new service provider. And the other thing that we've noticed is that one review really isn't enough. So almost half of the businesses that are going through the business-to-business buying process are looking to read at least 6 reviews from the companies that they're evaluating to feel like they've really made enough of a stride in their process to be able to say, yes, all right, we now know enough about the kind of work that this organization does, the kind of industries they work with, and what it's like to work with them to go through and actually make this purchase decision. So once again, looking for social proof and not just marketing materials or speaking with the sales team or the team that they would be working with, even though that's also quite important. And the last thing is, beyond looking for reviews and having reviews be a really crucial step in that research, is that the validity of the source of the reviews is actually the most important characteristic of online reviews when making a B2B buying process. So as you might expect, not only are buyers looking for that information, but they want to know that it's unbiased. They want to know that they can rely on it, and they want to know that whatever they're reading is something that the source of the reviews doesn't really have a stake in promoting one company over the other, but rather having that goal of promoting the best service providers and advisors that they possibly can. So at the end of the day, whether it's a positive review or a negative review, the reputation of the source of the review is actually one of the most important things that buyers come away with in terms of reading those reviews. And one last piece of information is that we learned that the top 3 sources of where people are reading those reviews, obviously, as you might imagine, they're all online, but they are looking, number 1, at company websites, then at search engines, so reviews that people might find on Google, and finally on business-to-business ratings and review sites. So something that we've noticed, if you're kind of combining the idea of where people are finding these reviews, as well as the source of the reviews and how valid they believe it is, what people are finding is that, pulling reviews from a valid source onto your own company website is your best bet in order to give buyers the information that they're looking for and where they're looking to find it, while still making it unbiased and something that they can really, really rely on. So once again, kind of moving forward and how Clutch fits in, a little bit of background about Clutch itself. So as you can see here, just to give you a bit of an idea of the size of our organization, our website currently gets over 700,000 unique visitors every month, and those are, service providers and advisors looking to get listed on our site, but mostly it's buyers looking to evaluate the companies that we have listed, and looking to make those purchase decisions, and really getting started in that research process. We highlight over 200,000 service providers and advisors on our site and have over 60,000 client reviews that our team of 75 people, everyone based out of Washington, D.C., has worked on collecting. And once again, we feature companies from all over the world. We feature companies from over 100 countries and over 300 different industries. So our breadth of coverage is quite large. And as Carrie mentioned earlier, really excited to have grown the coverage to be able to include even more GSA members. But really looking at the goals of Clutch and what we're trying to do, we're trying to help businesses connect and be more successful together. So our platform really has three main goals. On the one side is helping service providers create a great online reputation through their profiles and reviews, through getting ranked on our site. And from there, getting qualified leads and new business from their online presence. And then at the same time, helping business-to-business buyers, which oftentimes can also be the same service providers, be able to make informed decisions through the unbiased, verified information that we put out there about all the companies that we list, and through the verified, unbiased reviews that we're collecting directly from the client of these service providers. And at the end of the day, really creating a marketplace that facilitates and empowers fruitful working relationships on both sides. So with all that said, one question that we do often get, and something similar to, all right, how do we get more buyers onto the platform? How do we really do give that visibility through Clutch? The way that buyers actually start a lot of their research process is through Googling, as you might imagine. And that's actually how we get a lot of buyers onto our platform in the first place. So here you can see an example of a Google search around top branding companies in Washington, D.C. And as you can see, our content shows up first. And so most people start through search engines looking for, looking to identify companies who started shortlisting and learning more about, and then they land on Clutch, as well as the Manifest, which is our sister website, which is a website where Clutch vendors also get to be listed on to get them that visibility. And then once they're onto our platform, they get to dig through our directories and profiles and reviews and really learn as much as possible about the vendors that we list. So without further ado, getting started on Clutch and how to get involved. So as Carrie mentioned, it's a pretty simple process. It is completely free to be listed. It's also free for buyers that are looking to evaluate companies to come onto our site and see everything available. We do not, we don't have any paywalls. We do not ask anyone to, sign in as you're evaluating the content on the site. So if you are a buyer looking to evaluate service providers, you can just go through all of our content for free without even logging in. However, to be listed on Clutch, the first step is to create a profile, which is a fairly simple process. And we do ask people to log in using their LinkedIn so that we can verify the information of the vendor, so that we know that anyone creating a profile for a specific organization actually works for that organization. And beyond the verification process, it's also for security reasons. LinkedIn has a great data authentication program that ensures that all of our data stays safe once we do get it onto the Clutch platform. And a question that we often get is, I don't have access to our corporate LinkedIn account. You can log in with your personal LinkedIn account. And as long as you are, a member of that organization, that is enough for our team to be able to verify that you are able to create a profile for that organization on Clutch. Once you're logged in with LinkedIn, you add some basic information about your company, the services that you offer, the work that you've done to really help buyers learn as much as possible about you. So, you might want to indicate where you're located, where you have offices, what services you offer, where you specialize, what industries you work with, if there are any clients that you can highlight as, something that you want to put out there, hey, we've worked with these great organizations. You can also put out there portfolio items if you do have some visuals that are relevant for people to know. And that whole process usually takes about 15 minutes to go through and fill in. And then once that's all ready, you do get assigned an account manager at Clutch that really helps you through. Once the profile is submitted, our account managers go in and verify all the information, ensure that it all checks out, and really help you further kind of put yourself and brand yourself as you want to be branded within our platform, and make sure that you're getting the visibility in the industries that make the most sense for your organization. And then the second step, and what I would argue is a more crucial step, and what really does help buyers learn more about you, is a review process. So to get started with our review process, we ask service providers to submit some client references for us to reach out to and collect reviews from. And once again, this is all part of our free service, but getting those reviews done, we ask you to submit some pretty simple information about the clients that you'd like us to collect reviews from, including their name, the company that they work for, that you've done work for, and the contact information, so that we can get in touch with them. And that information is for internal use only. We will never share it externally. It's just for us to be able to get in touch with your client and get that review. So once you do submit that information, our review team reaches out to your clients and schedules a 15-minute phone call around their schedule. So, people can schedule out up to 8 weeks in advance, completely around their schedule. We want to make it as flexible and easy as possible for us to be able to collect that review. And what we do is, our team that's incredibly well trained in over 100 industries and asking the right questions, they follow a case study like format interview, where they ask who the client is, what challenge they were facing as an organization, what work you did for them, as well as what were the results, and their feedback on the work that was done. And those conversations, very much with the client's permission and blessing, get recorded and then transcribed and edited for length and clarity prior to being posted as a review on Clutch. So what that allows us to do is, in a short 10 to 15-minute conversation, we get to ask very specific questions to get a lot of great information that is relevant for a potential client of yours to learn more about the kind of work that you do. And once again, your account managers are there to help you onboard onto the platform and get reviews. And as you have more clients that are willing to submit reviews, you can always come back to us and submit more reviews on an ongoing basis. If this client interview format doesn't, quite work for your client for whatever reason, and they prefer to do an online review, they're also welcome to submit a review online. And our verification team, once that review is submitted, goes through, verifies the identity of the reviewer. Once again, through LinkedIn, the reviewers have to log in through LinkedIn in order to submit an online review. And we make sure that everything checks out prior to publishing it onto the site.
Hi there, just a quick one. Nicola, you've just put your hand up. I thought you were jumping off. Are you still on?
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether you got my message. So I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for your time so far, and I'll catch up with you a bit later.
Okay, thanks, Nicola.
Thanks,
Take care. Catch up
bye.
soon. Cheers.
Thanks. And just a little bit kind of further information into our review process. As you can see, our reviews are usually around 500 words. And, unlike a lot of online reviews that you may have seen out there, particularly in the B2C space, we want to make sure that the content of the reviews is really helpful, which is why we go out of our way to collect as much information as possible, but also to make sure that all the information is verified and valid. And the last thing too is, as I know, you all work with really great clients and really big organizations. So one thing to know is that for all reviews, each client that's leaving the review has the option of attributing their name and organization to the review, or they can leave it completely anonymous, at which point we make sure to take out any sort of identifiable information so that we can still collect the review, publish the review, but people are comfortable with the content that's out there, as well as, if you have an NDA signed or anything like that, we can still collect those reviews in those cases. And then, as I mentioned, the biggest thing here is that all reviews are verified, all information is verified, the proof of work is verified. And we really do kind of make it as digestible and easy as possible to get those reviews onto Clutch from your clients. And last thing there is, once you do have a profile on Clutch with reviews, you start ranking on our directories, you start getting featured on our directories, and that's how buyers really get to find you. And so just to give you an idea here, this is what kind of a mock leaders matrix looks like for, hypothetically, WordPress developers, but we do have these for hundreds and hundreds of industries. And to give you of how companies are ranked and evaluated, once you do have a profile with reviews and feedback is the biggest factor in our ranking algorithm, but we do take a look holistically at each company that gets added onto the platform, and we look at their online presence, where they fit into the industry, what kind of awards they've received, what kind of work they've done, what kind of clients they work with, and really do kind of some in-depth research in on each of the companies that are listed there, so that we can make sure that we're ranking them appropriately. And as you get more and more reviews, as Carrie mentioned earlier, these are dynamic rankings. So, we want to make sure that as new information gets added on each of the service providers that we get listed on Clutch, that information gets taken into account. So every time that a buyer comes onto our site, they're getting really relevant, up-to-date information. So once you're included on Clutch and ranking and have great reviews, this is where Clutch and the GSA Partner Platform comes in. So as you can see here, here's a screenshot of what the GSA Partner Directory looks like, as well as what the GSA profiles looks like for Scale Focus, which is a GSA member. And the thing that's really great about our partnership with GSA is that as companies get added onto Clutch and we include them onto the GSA Partner Platform, then we are able to, as more and more information, new reviews are added on Clutch, new partners are added onto Clutch from GSA, that GSA Partner Platform that is on the GSA website also gets updated in real time. So that's a great way for both members and buyers on the GSA website to be able to go to the site and really learn from what ecosystem GSA has built and be able to evaluate different potential partners and be able to kind of build relationships there. So at the end of the day, you get to leverage the Clutch review process, both for visibility on Clutch as well as visibility on the GSA Partner Platform. And yeah, really, I think it's a great way to really create a great ecosystem that is dynamic and keeps growing. So just to summarize a little bit, in order of getting listed, the first step is to submit a profile on Clutch, then submit client references, and then let us know that you've gone through the process so that we go ahead and add you on the GSA Partner Platform. And as soon as you do get added, you will get a dedicated Clutch analyst that will help you through the reference and reviews process, and also help you optimize your profile and your visibility on the platform as a whole. All right, and I think from there I can toss it back to you, Carrie. I know that you have some FAQs that you'd like us to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much for that, Eleonora. That was really, really thorough and comprehensive. Yes, I will stick up my my slide of FAQs, but before that, are there any questions from the floor?
What I was going to ask was just answered in the last slide there, Kerry, which is how, when you're registering with Clutch, do you kind of flag that you want to be on the GSA Partner Platform? And I think it mentioned there that there's an email to be sent just to confirm that. So that was the one question I had really at the moment.
Yeah, so what we're doing is the benefit of coming into the GSA Partner Platform rather than just being on Clutch. I mean, Clutch is amazing, but there are, as you've seen, tens of thousands of really different types of players. Now, what we're focused on is the GSA community, which we're focused on the technology and business services community, and moving it into the larger service provider as well as the sourcing advisor and all the sort of stuff that I mentioned. But you will come higher up on the GSA Partner Platform by ranking, absolutely, but also higher up if you are a fully accredited member of the GSA. So if you've actually been accredited to the Global Strategic Sourcing Standard, you come higher up, because we give brownie points for some of the work that you've done there. You get additional brownie points if you are a GSA award winner or a GSA shortlisted organisation as well. So we've got different flags that we're building into the system. And I think also I'd like to say the benefit of being here within the GSA partner platform is it is a lot more focused. So it is easier for an enterprise buyer to look for exactly the type of organisation that they're looking for. But you've got the independent endorsement of the GSA brand behind it as well. So if there is an issue in these guys are up there and they're absolutely fabulous, they look like they're absolutely fabulous, but let me tell you that they're not, then we'll be more than happy to come on in and obviously work with Clutch to look at how we actually redress any sort of misconceptions that might be being portrayed. So that's our role there.
And you mentioned, Kerry, earlier about kind of how you're going to promote this and push it out. Is any kind of thought being given to kind of what search engine optimization you're going to look at to ensure that if you're a buyer looking for reviews or accreditation around a product or service you may be interested in procuring, how you will actually get that promoted in Google to drive people towards the GSA platform?
Yeah, so I'm not good on SEO. That's not my strong suit. But we will be enlisting the support of an SEO specialist just to help us get this kick-started and properly out there, as and when we've got enough of the service provider community on board. So as I say, we will be knocking on every anyone that's a member today or has been a member in the last 3 years. We'll be knocking on the door and saying, look, we want you to get uploaded. There's great value in this partner platform, and it's really straightforward and simple. And what's not to love. I mean, we've got maybe sort of like 200 companies that have just been included in the GSA supplier directory, which is incredibly static. So I'm pretty certain that all those that have actually taken the effort to profile themselves in the supplier directory would, very happily transition across and get involved in the much more dynamic platform. So yeah, we do get asked these questions. So is the FAQs up?
Yes, I can see them.
You can. Okay, that's great. So can it be sabotaged by competitors? Eleanor, I think you've actually answered that, but do you want to go through that?
Yeah, absolutely. Short answer is no. So as I mentioned, we go through and validate and verify every profile that comes in, as well as every review that comes in, the identity of who's submitting a profile, who's submitting the review, the content, ensuring that the work did happen. So we do take quite a bit of time and effort in making sure that that does not happen, and that only reviews for real work that has occurred actually ends up being listed.
Okay, thank you for that. And I know you've already mentioned that it is completely free, but of course, a question that we've received numerous times is, what's the catch? Why are you doing all of this for free? There must be a commercial model behind it. And of course, there is a commercial model behind it. Do you want to explain very briefly what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. And so on the GSA side, currently there is no commercial model on the GSA partner platform itself. However, on Clutch, we do have an advertising model. So when service providers get listed on Clutch and they want to get additional visibility within our directories, they are able to pay for kind of premium listings and additional visibility, similar to, say, in Google, when you search something and ads come up first, or on Amazon, how you have sponsored products ahead of the non-sponsored ones. We do similar things on our directories. So companies that would like to advertise on the directories that they're listed on are able to get premium visibility and be listed above non-advertisers.
Okay, thank you for that. And yes, just to reconfirm from the GSA perspective, it isn't a commercial model, but obviously there is a benefit of being a member of the GSA. So active members, accredited members will rank closer to the top of all listings. But it's really a benefit, absolutely a benefit of membership, and not something that we're planning to roll any advertising or anything like that out against. So yeah, if my service line is not represented, basically they just come to you and just sort of say, could you break this down a bit further? We've had that quite a few times, haven't we? Which is why we then moved it into the consultancy and advisory space. So as and when people find that they don't feel that they can really tick the box that they want to go in, then do let ourselves or Clutch know. And then one other thing that we're going to be doing, Steve, is once we've got as many service providers on board as possible and asked our buyers to start using the platform. But also going to be asking our buy side members to, promote this and actually suggest amongst their own service providers that they should be included. So we want to get to the point that if a service provider isn't included, what have they kind of got to hide? They should have sort of like happy customers that are more than willing to endorse them.
Yeah.
And I think this is another challenge that we've been working on is the last question, Eleonora, is, obviously one day you are absolutely in love with your service provider, but you've got a 5-10 year even arrangement with them, and then they drop the ball and something bad goes wrong. You have one really, really bad quarter with them. How do we manage that? But they don't, they've taken 2 years of fantastic deliverables and don't actually promote anything, and then 1 quarter of a bit of a mess up, and then they absolutely annihilate you. So Eleanor, can you explain how we balance that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, something to keep in mind is that we make sure that all the content on the site is constructive, helpful, relevant to the work, and not, making sure that the substance is actually substantial, if I can say that. And I think, something to consider is that, with long-term partnerships, if someone does want to, update the review and things have changed, they are able to update the review. But we always make sure that, we get on the phone with them again to get that new information and really get a feel for, what has changed, and collect new information to get added to the existing review, so we do have an updated review. So if you as a buyer, your perspective on a service provider has changed, you are able to record that. The original text will still be there, but we also make sure that any update to the review is verified information, and it is helpful to the buyers. We are not in the business of letting someone just, trash talk another vendor. So we want to make sure that any content is, a helpful and respectful content that we're adding to the site.
And on that note, do service providers have the opportunity or right of redress, or in terms of if they feel a comment that's been made is inaccurate or doesn't reflect the service experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So service providers are able to write a response to a review if they ever feel like content on the review is not accurate, or if they want to give their side of the story, we allow that as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And that's also an added value play that the GSA is here to perform as well. So you can come directly to us if you feel that something's happening that it's not reflecting the brand the way that you want to, and there's something's being published that's quite unfair. So we're an additional resource just to make sure that it is fair. That's the key thing that we're trying to do here. So. Okay, and Shaminder, just so you know, yes, we would love all of SaaScon members to be uploading both into Clutch, but also into the GSA partner platform.
That's that was going to be my question to you, Sally. So thank you for answering that, Kerry.
Okay, no, so we would, get Futusa on board, but that does lead to one question, and that is again for you, Eleonora. So, say for example, WNS, they have at least 500 people, I think, don't they, Chaminda, in Sri Lanka, but they also have, tens of thousands probably in India. So, if you're a global player, but you've got specific delivery capabilities in any given region, do you register yourself for each country and then become part of a group? I know this is something that you were working with NTT Data on, because obviously that's a massive organization out of Japan, but a very different organization in the UK. So perhaps you could explain that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do have almost different organizations within your bigger partner brand that operates in different locations and does completely different types of work, we can work with you to give you different profiles for each of those specific ones. If it is just one main global brand that does similar work everywhere, all over the world, what we would do is a profile allows you to have different locations featured, and that one same profile can show up across different location pages on Clutch. If it does seem to be completely different services, we can work with you to give you kind of different branding for each.
Okay, excellent. That answers that question. Is that clear for you, Chaminda?
Yes, it does. Thank you,
okay.
Kerry.
Excellent, excellent. Right, any other questions? I mean, we've only got 2 of you left, which is very small, very interactive. Steve, are you going to be happy to go and promote this as a platform to a whole host of your clients, and also, just as importantly, put Peru online, or have you got any additional hesitations that we might need to address for you?
No, I mean, no, I'm absolutely happy to do it. I mean, it's free publicity at the end of the day, and free marketing. So that's always a positive thing. I'm just thinking, I suppose probably coming into this call, which client references do we kind of focus on? Because our kind of advisory is broken into kind of 3 practice areas, one of which is the sourcing, but we've also got our sort of technical architecture and transformation practices. But I see no reason why we wouldn't gather feedback from all of the areas, really, because it's the overall capability we have as an advisory service. So yeah, absolutely, I'm all up for it, and we'll be signing up.
Kerry, we can't hear you, Kerry.
We just lost.
Thank you. Yes. Why do we still do this? We're 6 months in, and I just see it every single call. Somebody forgets to go off mute, don't they? And today it's me. And I apologise. So, same question for you, Chaminda. Any hesitations that you'd have to promote it to SLASCOM?
No, I love the platform and how it works. So I need to present it to the board. But Kerry, just to get an understanding, SLASCOM members can register on this platform, or do they need to first become a GSA member?
No, because of our relationship with SLASCOM, SLASCOM members can register on this platform. So Clutch will take anybody and everybody, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, but they are building the biggest platform they possibly can of all relevant. But yes, you join the GSA platform because of the relationship between SLASCOM and GSA.
Okay, wonderful. I'll think it through and share something with you before I put it across to our members.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. If you need any help with anything, I'm sure Eleonora will jump on, or I'll jump on any call that you need. So do let us know if we can help you further.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Right, is it gin and tonic time now, or any other questions? Oh, sorry to say that to you, Eleonora. Obviously, it's not even close. You can probably go and have another coffee or something now.
Yep.
So if there's no further questions, all I can say is thank you very much for joining. Appreciate that, and I'd really hope to see you signed up soon.
Cheers.
So,
thanks, Eleonora. Thanks, Kerry.
Thank you, Eleonora.
Thank you. Thank you.
Annie.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.